Funny.
Oh shit.
I was telling Bill, I told Mike Chiesa, listen, because he's got that thick beard.
All right, guys, we're live.
All right. You want to finish your thought there?
Yeah, I told him, I said, I'm not shaving until we win this case. That's it.
All right, good. Well, you're going to tell us all about the case. But before you do, I just want to welcome everybody who's tuning in tonight to another episode of Police Off the Cuff After Hours. If you don't know yet by now, my name is Mark DeMeo. I'm here with my co-host, my partner in all things law enforcement, Bill Cannon. What's up, buddy?
What up?
And we have a guest, a recurring guest now. This is probably your fourth or fifth time on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you. If you don't know, he's a retired NYPD. He's also an attorney at large that he just ran for Queens DA here in New York City. What's up, Joe Murray? How are you?
Yes. What's up, my brothers? Thank you. Appreciate having me on again.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of work out there.
A lot of fun. A lot of stuff happening.
Tell us what's happening right now.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, the biggest problem is that we don't have juries, and that's been slowing things down. But our administrative judge has taken great steps. You know, I don't know if you remember, he was the deputy commissioner, First Step, Grasso. He's now the supervising judge of Bronx Criminal Court, but he's been appointed by the chief judge to handle all of the unindicted felony matters as an initiative to try to dispose of them. So, you know, as you know, I mean, without juries and grand juries, we're really struggling.
So, Joe, what does that mean? They're just going to basically forgive people that have felonies?
Sadly, I've been seeing, you know, the pleas that are coming out are very, very light. There's programs involved.
So if I want to steal a Maserati, now is the time.
Well, it's not for all people, you know, trust me, if you get caught, you're going to do hard time. You know, there's a bias going on here. There's certain,
I don't want a Maserati anyway. I'm happy with my least Acura.
yeah. So, but anyway, you know, we're struggling civilly too to get civil cases. That was the big threat with the civil case. Hey, fine, let's go to trial. I'll put my people in. Can't do it. I don't have trials. We don't have juries. So, you know, we're struggling on that end, but the judges are really, you know, taking the initiative to try to conference and settle the cases more aggressively.
Yeah, but you're a defense attorney, aren't you?
I do civil litigation too. I do some plaintiff work and defense work.
I mean, it works in your behalf in a way when you're trying to come up with a good deal for a client. Right now is,
yeah,
like Bill was saying,
it is. It's you're getting you know, some pleas that you're not normally going to get. You know, just to move cases along and get rid of them.
You know, you mentioned something about the how it's working in different ways. And just today, I did a podcast earlier with this with Mike Colon, MC Audio.
That kid's fantastic, man.
Yeah,
he's gonna be, you know, he's gonna be having his own Maserati without having to steal it.
He's a young kid. He's 20 years old. He's got charm and charisma and person. He's a perfect package.
He's smart. He's smart too.
Yeah. What a memory. The guy knows everything from the job. He was telling me stuff. I was like, yeah, I didn't know.
Well, you know, well, Mark, do you know that he's watched every single one of our podcasts?
He has one of those memories where
I was flattered by that. He goes, I love you guys. He's watched every damn podcast. That? I was like, wow, that's great, man. You know?
I hear that a lot. Trust me. I hear from a lot of people when I've done your show, particularly during my campaign, when you guys did that, you know, double header. I got called by so many people in law enforcement, a lot of federal officers that I had no relationship with were reaching out like, oh, we love that show. It's fantastic. You did a great job. We're backing you. They were volunteering to help my campaign. So,
you know, I was told after one of those shows that you were runner-up for being Cosmopolitan Bachelor of the Month.
You'd be a good bachelor. No, but you're not a bachelor. You're married anyway.
That's right.
But listen, my point was this. I wanted to finish on this. What we were talking about, me and this kid, was about the subway. I actually know somebody who got a summons for going through the thing. He opened the door for somebody coming through with a bicycle, whatever, and then he went through with him, and he got a summons. And you know, Bill is always talking about how it's supposed to be free. This guy happened to be a Caucasian. So then I'm thinking, well, is that something that's going on here where we're only going to summons? Do you think that's really going on?
I think it's happening. No, it's the path of least resistance. I mean, who wants to be accused of a racist and attacked? I mean, these poor cops, what they go through, it's horrendous.
Well, Joe, how about even when we were cops, that summonses below 96th Street cost more money?
That's right. Anything south of 96th Street.
How fair is that?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's
incredible,
man. I can't believe that's what we've come to right now. And
yeah, it's terrible. Identity politics, it's what you look like versus, what you're doing.
Well, how about once they institute all these speed and red light cameras? That's going to be like horrendous.
I got to tell you something. That is really, it's something I'm so far behind in all the work I'm doing. Mike Riley, I've been talking to him about that. He's just up in arms about it because he's a member of the legislature. He's a retired lieutenant. He's an assemblyman. And the law only allows for, I forget the amount, the total amount. I was talking to him with him, and now the city is upping it to like 2,000 with their creative interpretation of the law. So, I think it's time that we strike back a little bit and rein them in.
Let me ask you a question. You're going through a shady neighborhood. It's something that you have to go through on your way home from work. You're at a light. There's nobody there, but you're getting approached, or it's not. Listen, I'm not saying take a light, but I'm just saying it used to be like certain neighborhoods, it was understood. But now you got that light, that camera that they specifically put there. How are you going to beat that?
You're done. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was tough. The cameras, the speed cameras, that's the big thing. They're installing these speed cameras all around. They're supposed to be for school safety, and they have them in these designated school safety zones. However, they're used all night. They run them well past school hours. It's really just a money grab.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't go more than 25 miles an hour, between 20 and 25. I don't care who's behind me. I'm not getting another summons. And I don't know where these cameras are because they pop up all the time. And the funny thing is they put them in places where you might be prone to speed. Like, for example, I live in the Bronx. You're getting off the Cross Bronx Expressway. You're going to take the 3rd Avenue Bridge. You just sat on the Cross Bronx Expressway. There's a little spot there where you could get, you're just so frustrated about sitting on that Cross Bronx Expressway. When you're going to take the 3rd Avenue Bridge, you're going to drive, you're going to do 30. It's like, and that's a release.
Yeah.
And then they get you every time. I've gotten so many of those.
Something I was on, talk about these speed cameras and these red light cameras. I was out on Long Island on Old Country Road. Every other light has a red light camera. And, I keep on Waze, and Waze spots them all for you. Red light camera coming up. Red light. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why don't they just put a cash register there with a guy?
That's what it is. And that's
not what it was. It's disgraceful. It's really disgraceful. Yeah. You know what? You wanted to talk a little bit about the state attorney general today got destroyed by the New York Post in an op-ed in regards to her hit piece on the NYPD from the riots in the summer. What do you think about that?
I didn't see that, but I got to tell you, she's a train wreck. She has been doing all this crazy stuff, going after the NRA, which is now relocating into Texas, seeking, the shelter of a more friendly state. But why? Why are you doing all this stuff? I mean, you're supposed to be helping the people. We have this huge corruption case going on in Mount Vernon. This poor cop who's a whistleblower just wants to clean up his department, and he loves what he does. He loves being a cop. And unfortunately, they're ignoring us. They're ignoring him. They won't give him, any respect over there. They constantly retaliate against him. We've reached out to the governor and the attorney general. They ignore it. There's nothing in it for them. It's a small little town, Mount Vernon.
Well, Cuomo's another train wreck. I mean, you talk about a train wreck. That's why she's a train wreck, because she works for a train wreck,
I just can't understand that. I mean, I got to tell you, I love, what I do. I love my practice. I love helping people. And I love being involved in the law.
There he is, Joe. You see yourself on the screen?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Joe Murray for Queens District Attorney.
That's right.
Now, can you just use that same picture, just slap a different year on it, or what?
There you go. Why not?
Hey, has there ever been a more handsome guy ever?
Look at that, man. Holy
Look at
shit.
that.
Whoa,
Look at
easy.
that.
Look at
Listen.
those mitts.
Oh my
Look at the size
God.
of that hand.
And he's
What
got
is
a
that?
mean right. He's got a mean right hook.
Looks like
Yes.
you got a catcher's mitt on.
Oh my God.
Oh, look at that.
Listen. I was like,
He's-
what'd you say?
He's
What'd
clenching
you
the
say?
fist during this one.
He's going to take them all on right now.
Somebody was mouthing
There's-
off over there.
There's a young Joe Murray next to
That's right.
on the left, Lee Pachter, a
Lee
legendary
Pachter and Eric Winbush. Eric Winbush,
Hey,
great
Eric
trainer.
Winbush.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Eric Winbush used to train at
Lost
Battalion
Battalion.
Hall.
That's right.
And that's where I used to box. And Eric Winbush was telling me the story one day when he fought Evander Holyfield.
Yes.
And Eric Winbush, he told me this move about picking up the guy's elbow in the corner, and it was a beautiful move that he told me.
yeah,
But
he was slick.
He was telling me back then what a great cheater Evander was.
Really?
Back then, I'm talking about it was the 1990s.
Wow.
He was telling me that he never faced a better cheater. He knew how to do everything. And that's what frustrated Tyson in the fight,
Yeah.
that he was getting out-cheated.
He was getting out cheated.
You know something? Lee Pachter has one of the most famous lines that I always quote. Actually, two lines. He used to say, "You know why I'm not a chief?" And I'd be like, "Why, Lee?" He goes, "That damn sergeant's test." And his second one was, he'd see people urinating on the street, and he'd say, "Why are you pissing on the street? There's a perfectly good elevator in that building to pee in."
Yeah, that's a regular.
He was a funny guy, right?
He is such a funny guy.
I don't know if people that are in the live chat understand what we're talking about, but a lot of
We got to give a
housing
shout out
projects,
in the
people
live
use the
chat.
elevator as a bathroom. So we just,
Yeah.
Dawn Marie's out there. I remember when I lived in New York, we would go to church with Jerry Cooney. And yeah, Jerry Cooney.
Jerry, he was an
Huntington, Long
honorary
Island.
coach
Yeah.
of our team. And he went to London and Ireland with us. He was great, Jerry. We would spar with us. We would spar at the Downtown Athletic Club. Like he got in there with
That
us.
hook to the body that he had. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I tell
was
you.
he leery of Joe Murray?
Listen, I got in there with the big guy. But I got to tell you, Jerry, as big as he is, like his style, just that crouching style, and he was like, are you kidding me? I'm not even close to as tall as he is. He goes, come on, get in there,
6.
protect yourself. So,
And
yeah,
then,
it was great.
and
Great
then
working with
once
him.
at a gig that I was doing for the other boxing guy. What's his name? Terry Atlas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Teddy.
But let's see. Who else?
I just want you guys to know, women weaken legs.
Yes.
Shirley
Yes.
A. Connolly, hello from Burlington, Ontario, Canada.
These
Look
are
at
all
you
the
guys,
duty
far
run people.
reach.
These duty run people are following us all over. God bless duty run. Thank you, duty run's fans, for staying with us. We are pretty funny.
Cat in the Hat is out there.
She's
That's
out there,
great.
yeah.
My Cat in the Hat. And Dookie 4000. Yes, but we're 86 years old, Dad, and get them all the time. An Old Country Road. Yes, talking about the
the cameras.
yeah.
So we have this thing called the 40 and over fight club. It's really the 50 and over fight club. And we get together on the weekends and we spar. There's some former pros that train with us, guys from the boxing team. But because of COVID, they shut our gym down. But we used to go to the gym and then we'd go out to eat. And there's a place, Bocce, off of Old Country Road over there. And
Yeah, I
we
know
go
that.
there every Saturday after the gym and they just hang out and eat. So now we just go there and eat. We don't train anymore because the gym's closed. But
Joe, sometimes I drive out to Long Island just to go to that store, Total Wine. You ever been to that place?
Total Wine.
Yeah,
no.
it's like the size of about 8 football fields. So it's just a wine liquor store.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. It's the best, I just love to go there because it's like being in wine paradise,
But you guys don't hit each other in the head, do you?
Oh, yeah. No, this is
Really?
real. This is real.
Now, still, why would
We
you
use
do
the
that?
big gloves. We use the 16 ounces, but we, we're going. I mean,
I'm just saying though,
you got to see this.
when he had at 50 years old, a good shot to the noggin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great though, just to try to stay
You know
in
what
shape.
though? Honestly though, there's nothing like getting punched in the face. It kind of sort of wakes you up. I remember like when I'd get in there and I'd start to bounce around and I needed, oh, okay, good. All right, here we go. Oh, all right, good. You know, it kind of sort of like, it's a hard thing to explain.
Our
but
fans, don't do this at home.
it kind of puts you in the mood, doesn't it?
It's self-correcting, boy. When you get stung like that, you're like, all right, I'll keep that left up. You know,
nice jabs in the mug, right here. You know, set
Yep.
the mass right, and then you're into it. You're like, all right, this is what we're doing right now, huh?
Joe,
Right.
how hard is it right now at your age just to hold your arms up for 3 minutes?
You know, that's no joke. I mean,
I know it's no joke.
3 minutes. You're not doing 3-minute rounds, are you?
We're doing 3-minute rounds. Yeah.
Why? Why would
Yeah.
you do that? You're gonna die. You're gonna get a heart attack.
You know, when I
You'd
beat
be
each
doing
other into the
30-second
ground.
rounds.
What's that?
45-second rounds. That's it. I started off to 30, but really, 45 seconds is it.
Well, the Masters division, I think they fight 1.5-minute rounds.
Yeah.
So
3 minutes is too much. What are you doing? You're gonna get a heart
no,
attack.
I'm not fighting Masters. I mean, I enjoy going to the gym, working out with the guys, but I can't afford. You know, I go to court sometimes with a black eye, and my judge is looking at me like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "You didn't like the plea."
My client didn't like his bill.
You know, there's something about though, even if you're gonna lose a fight or you feel like you're outmatched, it's somebody you have a beef in the street. Like, what are you gonna do? Hit me in the face? They get hit every day. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got. And there's no better feeling than that, you know.
It does. It gives you that just self-confidence. You know, you've been hit 1,000 times a day in the gym, you know, sparring. So, you know, even when you're out in the street, like we were on the job, I would very easily, you know, happily take a punch if I had to, you know, and
I
then
always felt better using my hands. I didn't want anything. I didn't want a nightstick. I didn't want a flashlight. I always felt best having just my hands. With my hands, I knew I could take care of myself. Everything else was just like, it was getting in the way.
Yeah.
An old-time street crime cop showed me how to do it. You pick the guy's head up and you use the ground as the weapon. You don't mess up your hands. You
Listen,
use
the Manhattan DA's offices, I've seen them do that. They'll
charge you with it. Yeah, they charge you with it, right?
And that's the dangerous instrument. That's the weapon.
Right, but you know, it was good technique back in the day when they didn't charge that.
Yeah.
Just 2 or 3 inches off the ground and boom. That was an old anti-crime move because you know.
I said it last week. I caught a guy one time in the cell smashing his head off the wall. Like, I just happened to be, it wasn't even my collar. I'm in the squad. I'm walking by and this guy's sitting there, bang, bang,
wow,
bang. So I just thought, it was in the beginning of cell phones. We had cameras, so I just started recording him and he stopped.
Someone just asked us if we worked with Stephen Caracappa and Lou Ippolito, and the answer is they were on the job when we were on, but I believe they were in Brooklyn robbery.
Brooklyn, yeah.
And Stephen Caracappa was in Major Case, and that's where he gave the inside information to mobsters that resulted in the murder of an innocent kid that had the same name of some wise guy that they were looking to hit. So that guy Caracappa was a piece of so was Ippolito. Ippolito wrote a book while he was on a job called Mob Cop. And he extolled the virtues of being in the mob, like a higher virtue than being a cop, you know. Yeah. There's honor, there's respect. Like, you know, are you kidding me? He was in Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. What did he play in Goodfellas?
I mean, just he was you know, he's one of the mobsters.
The scene goes like this. He walks in the bar, the local bar, and he starts going through everybody's name. Remember when they said, "Oh, that's so and so 2 times"? He says,
"Oh, yes."
Well, one of the guys that gives a toast, that's Ippolito sitting there by the bar.
Do you know that they're actually there's a guy named Tommy Dades who is good friends with Christopher Strom. In fact, I spoke to Tommy Dades on the phone. I wanted to get him on the show, but his book. This is it, Friends of the Family. right there. They've already signed to do a HBO special, not a
Wow.
special, a series. So I wanted to get him on to interview him, but I don't know. I'm going to give him another call because but he may want to do someone bigger than us. Although can't imagine a bigger podcast than
I
Police Off
can't
the
either.
Cuff.
This is my first stop. My next election.
The reality is you got to do them all.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the reality.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
true.
If you really
You
want
gotta
to
make your way around.
But Tommy Dades wrote this book with a couple of other guys, and he was responsible. He actually was the one that pushed to get the mafia cops charged. Because, they had
Are they
retired.
still in prison?
They died, and both of them died
Oh,
in
they
prison.
both died. Wow.
Yeah, but they both were free, and they were living in Las Vegas. And they had gotten away with it. And the mother of one of the kids the mob killed based on them feeding them information kept pushing and pushing. This guy, Tommy Dade, stayed with the case. And then he went to the Brooklyn DA. And then somehow the feds got involved, of course, picking up the scraps after everything was put together. And those guys were basically going to do life in prison, but they both died in prison.
Hey, Dookie 4000, my brother was in undercover narcotics in Queens North. That's a tough job.
Yeah, narcotics is tough. Tough, man.
Undercover anything to pretend to be someone else, because we all have these copisms, and imagine trying to, none of us three here are undercover material.
Yeah.
Joe, who are you going to play? Who would Mark play?
Yeah.
If you want to blend into the mob, but the thing is, you also have to you have a kind of a lineage, through the neighborhood. People know who you are, so you can't just become a cop. I remember when I first got on the job, and for some reason I found myself on Steinway Street again. I was either shopping and, my old stomping grounds, Astoria, and I bumped into a whole bunch of people that I grew up with. So I'm like, yo, what's up? This, that, and the other. And
that's why they don't want you living and working in the same place.
One of them says to me, oh, yo, did you really become a cop? And I'm like, yeah. I got 6 months on this, that, and the other. I'm working over here. And one by one, before you know it, I was standing by myself. One by one, everybody took off. I was like,
I was working in street crime, and they used to have in the South, they'd have these groups that would do front window breaks. And they would set up on the window, guys looking out and everything. And they would usually take a fire hydrant cover and throw it through the window, and then knock the rest of the glass out and just, fleece the place. So I had to get a little close. And as I'm walking by, the guy goes, "Hi, officer." And I, how you always do this. And I just kept walking, And then when I walked back, he did it again. So I slapped the shit out of him. That was back in the day when you could do that,
Yeah, I remember Mike Sheehan would tell me stories when I think out of the academy, he became an undercover, and he was doing like the Weather Underground, and he got made once. Somebody, Sheehan's bar, they had,
That's right. He had a bar on the Upper East Side. The family owned the bar. Yeah.
And somebody made him, and they had to pull him out. So
that's scary.
That
Same
is
thing
scary.
like in anti-crime. When you're out on the street and you're there by yourself, you can become the target of the robbers that you follow.
Yes.
All of a sudden, there's no one else there, and they look at you, and you're like, "Oh shit, this is what it's like to be a victim, right?"
You know what? If you want to see a really great, Bill was talking about the Night Stalker, and he's doing a whole bunch of shows about the Night Stalker. But if you want to see another great one too, we'll go back to the Night Stalker. But there's one about these. They try to get a submarine.
I saw that one. Yeah,
Occupation something like that. Operation Odessa, and it's this guy from Brooklyn, a Russian guy who his partner gets whacked. They were working for the mob, so he winds up in Miami. And next thing you know, he's friends with one Colombian, another guy, and they start doing little favors for the cartel. And when Russia fell, this guy goes out and he gets a couple of helicopters. Now they try to get a submarine for the cartel.
Right. They were going to move cocaine with the submarine.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. But it's a great documentary. I don't even know how I got started.
Yeah, I watched that too.
It's a good one. It really is good though, man. I mean,
Well, you mentioned about sometimes the undercover becomes the victim. When I was in the 115, I did the conditions unit. We did like all the, we had a lot of transvestite prostitutes, and they would leave their condoms all over the place. So the community would come to the precinct, and they would send us out there. And, we were just in plain clothes watching the corners. They would approach the cars. You had to make observations before you could arrest them. And it was kind of like a gay area over there too. So, we would hold our asses and, just try to blend in and sitting there. And some guy took offense to us. Like we were goofing around with him, telling him he's cute and stuff. And he just started throwing rocks at us from down the block, threw a bottle at us. I was like, wow, a bias incident here.
Joe,
Did
you develop a lisp to do that job?
But you're right. I mean, it happens. You're out there. You're trying to blend in, and
Mark was talking about it. And if you haven't watched The Night Stalker, it's probably one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. But even for a cop, Mark watched it. I watched it. I was in homicide for 10 years. It's very disturbing. It's a very disturbing documentary when you can't believe this guy was this much. He was a devil. He was an animal,
This guy was going into people's houses in the middle of the night. And then I remember one of the ladies saying, I don't want to live in a place where I have to lock my doors. And I'm thinking to myself, when you live in New York City, right? Not only do I lock my doors, but if I have a window that anybody could get in, like 13 stories or below, I'm putting a gate on it. Like I go to my locksmith and I buy the steel metal gate. Like I'm gonna die in a fire before I can find the keys to get out of this gate. But at least I know nobody's breaking in. And these people are living out there. They don't want to lock their doors. This guy just walked into people's houses and killed families.
But he also sexually abused and raped kids.
Yeah, that was another thing too. He was stealing kids, so they couldn't put the two.
It was just. I mean, his crimes were horrendous, and in fact, the detective who was the most important character in this, his name was Gil Carrillo. He was young when it happened. He was, maybe had 10, 12 years on the job, and he hooked up with a sergeant who had worked on the Hillside Strangler. So, LA is no stranger to serial killers. Uh-huh. But this guy, Gil Carrillo, knew from the first incident that this was a sexually related killer. It turned out in about 5 or 6 months, he killed about 14 people.
Wow. He would go out every night, this guy.
Yeah. But just it
was like his job.
Yeah. I mean, actually this Wednesday, myself, Michael O'Keefe, and Irma Rivera are doing a show on it. On critiquing,
there's another good one too on Netflix, the Ripper one.
Yeah, the Ripper from England. Yeah, we did a show on that
one. You could, I hate to say it, but that was like a botched up.
Oh yeah, that was a bad investigation.
They got tunnel vision with the looking for a prostitute killer, and there was so many cases before that didn't have anything to do with prostitute. This guy was looking whatever was available while he was driving around. Didn't have to be a prostitute. I would imagine sometimes it was easier to get them in the car if they were prostitutes.
Yeah, and nobody missed them really, right?
Oh,
we had that guy Joel Rifkin. Remember him? He was the.
Well, even they talk about the Gilgo Beach murders were mostly sex workers, and a lot of people feel that the reason it isn't solved is that the detectives didn't try as hard. Well, I don't buy that, but people say that they didn't work as hard because they were sex workers. I don't think that's true, but
I don't buy it.
I don't either. But there's a lot of people that say that,
Yeah, I don't buy it.
No.
Seasoned detective is.
Well, Mark, you were talking about the case in England, and the document. The people that did that documentary, their whole premise was that it was crimes against women. The woman tried to make it political. The one who made the
there was a little at the end. There was a political overtone that, if there was a female investigating this, that but they did go tunnel vision. That's something that happens during the course of an investigation when you feel like you have. But the disregarding of other evidence, that was.
Well, they had the bosses that ran that investigation were horrible.
Yeah.
because the detectives came to them and said, "This is the guy. This is the guy." And the chief
Wow.
screamed at him, "Get out of my office! He's not the guy." You know, it was like,
Does he have a Porgy accent?
yeah, right.
And he said no. And he said, then get out of my office.
Because a guy sent a tape in saying he was the Ripper,
yeah,
and,
wow.
and it wasn't him. It was a
The
hoax.
guy was submitting the tapes.
Right.
You know,
These
and
the
they
bosses
had
in
stuff on those tapes, which was it was just some crazy person. The whole thing is horrible,
But you know something, even well, I'll get into it Wednesday night, but they made a couple of big mistakes on the Night Stalker too that enabled him to stay out there. One of the things they didn't realize was in 1984 he raped and murdered a 9-year-old girl in the basement of a hotel, but the DNA didn't come back till 2009 because there was no DNA technology at that time.
Yeah.
And officially his reign of terror started in 1985, I believe. But there was no DNA back then. A lot of the things he did, if there was DNA, he would have got caught right away. But I'll get into it Wednesday night. I don't want to.
So how often do you think that happens here on our job? You know, I was not allowed to be in the detective bureau, but I understand that we all had so much more respect for our detectives and gave them the freedom of investigation, right? Or did you find that sometimes a boss would want to close a case so bad and, you know?
Sometimes we were directed to investigative direction by 1PP or the PC that we didn't agree with, and it turned out to be wrong, and then they had to do a backtrack. But the PC or the chief of D's tells you to do it, you do it. You know, you can't say, "I don't think that's the one." You know,
you'll be riding a radio call with me if you don't.
It's a paramilitary organization. They tell you what to do. You have to do it, right?
Yeah.
But I remember on a couple of big cases, they told us to do shit that everyone was like, "No way." Yeah, we got to do it.
Brian Investigative Group says the brass sometimes commits early to a theory in a case and are not persuaded to look different points of view or different theories that would contradict them. Yeah,
he's 100% right. You know,
yeah.
One of the things you see in the Night Stalker is the detective and the famous sergeant that he worked with. I don't have his name at the tip of my tongue right now. They went out drinking a lot, and that's where they talked about what they were doing and what was going on. And it wasn't just to talk. It was a very stressful investigation. And the horror of it was tough to deal with, even for seasoned homicide detectives. What's that?
Even talking about it right now. That's why I make sure
yeah, you're drinking. You were so upset. You poured yourself a drink.
I stay lubricated.
Yeah. I'm drinking Poland Spring. I'm so upset.
Yeah.
So
that's a valuable tool, though. I still do it, even with, you know, other attorneys going back and forth, trying to figure out, you know, what the missing pieces are and you know, what evidence to focus on. We just sit there bullshitting and, you know, oil up a little bit and
you spit shooting.
We solve all these cases.
Yeah, you spitballing, you know.
Yeah, spitballing.
It's just sitting around spitballing and thinking about who would think, like, what would somebody not think of? It's the same thing when I'm thinking of jokes. What's the angle nobody would think of? That's what makes a joke exciting for me. But when you're solving crimes, it's the same thing. You know, sometimes you got to think out of the box. You know, sometimes I remember when I was in the warrant unit and I used to go to somebody's location, an address that I had an apartment, and I was with my partners, and you know, if they weren't home, I used to go in the bedroom. I said, where does he lay his head? Where does he sleep? And they'd show me in there, and then I'd go look at the bed, and I'd look out the window. My partners be like, what are you doing? And like, I want to see the world the way he sees it.
Listen.
And I would always catch the guy.
I always mention the detective I had, Joe the Lip, on every case had a million theories, and after a while you'd be like, all right, shut up, you know. Yeah, and then some of the theories would be so off the wall. You know, I used to say, Joe, stop hypothesizing and theorizing and start typerizing.
That's great.
Oh man.
But that is the way you solve a case. Detectives have to talk to each other. they
Yeah.
have to, you know.
At the whiskey says my granddad was in San Francisco at the time. He said, "Let the Night Stalker try this house. Watch what happens." But
Yeah.
that's also an interesting thing too, because we go back to I don't want to live in a place where I have to keep my doors locked or that type of attitude. And God bless you, man. We should all be able to live like that.
Yeah.
That's very naive, though. You know, that's very
But
naive.
when this guy's creeping around, I don't. If this guy, if you told me that something like this happened in Queens, I live in the Bronx. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna lock my doors now.
Yeah.
You know, he had one guy during this thing, and he shoots the guy's wife in the head, and then he shoots the other guy in the head, and the guy chases him out of his house into the street. That
Yeah.
guy's badass.
Yeah.
That
The
is,
Night Stalker
yeah.
took off, man, and he was like,
He chased them.
yeah, he chased him out after being shot in the head, and
Wow.
him and his wife both survived.
He did a lot of he was busy, man. It's really hard to catch somebody when they're doing stuff every night or every other night. Like this
Yeah,
guy's out. Like
he was he did two or three a night sometimes.
Yeah, like that's how do you catch that guy? You know, by the time you get there and you start investigating and put 2 and 2 together, 3 more crimes have happened. You know, so
You know, for the people that listen and they always ask why aren't the police always, you know, share their evidence with the public. There was one thing in this case that was so important to keep quiet, and they put it out there.
oh, the shoe.
Yeah, the shoe that was the imprint of the shoe was on every
Who was
crime
that?
scene.
That was,
Well, Dianne Feinstein
yeah.
was the mayor of San Francisco, and some little ball-licking chief, figures he's going to get his ticket punched by telling the mayor all of this stuff. She holds a press conference and tells everyone about the evidence. Now, when they get him, or if he kept, you know, they can't link the cases together anymore because they just gave up the evidence.
Yeah, he's now going to correct it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's that was interesting.
You know, Mark, I knew right away what it was. They told the chief was a little ball licker that wanted to get his ticket punched by the mayor. So he went in there, look what I found out. You know, he used to get little ball swabbers on our job that did that too, you know. I had this one sergeant in mind. I won't say his name. I'd see him on the phone with the chief of D's telling him every single thing about the case. And I'd be like, hang up that phone. Hang up that phone. What are you doing? And I'm screaming at another sergeant. Are you out of your mind? You know?
Yeah, man.
We had some good detectives, though. I mean, geez, I was amazed at some of the stuff, you know, the guys I work with. I remember this guy, Mike Pesh, when I was in the 7th precinct. I would hang around with the squad.
I know that lunatic. That guy was walking around Ground Zero unsupervised with his buddy for weeks.
Is he still around? I haven't told
I have
him.
no. I heard he moved to Ireland or something. That's
Oh wow.
Yeah, I forget his partner. Yeah, they actually. I don't know how they did it. They walked around Ground Zero for like weeks. I was like, who's watching you two?
A lot of people down there that had no business being.
Yeah. They were like, you know, wearing coal miners' helmets and shit. I was like,
how were you supposed to know?
Yeah.
Somebody digging in the rubble.
Right. I was like, what are you guys doing? Who's supervising you?
There's people crawling around in there. At some point, you couldn't control who was going in there. You know, they kind of closed it off. But if somebody came dressed with thing on and all that.
Well, they collared a guy, Dementri. That was his last name. He was a journalist. He was a broadcast for ABC. And he snuck into areas he didn't belong. And they told him 2 or 3 times, get out. And he kept doing it, and they locked him up. And you know how hard it is to lock up someone from the press.
First Amendment, yes.
No, because some boss will be like, no, don't lock him up. They're like, and 3 times, he's going, you know?
Yeah.
Right? Phil Dementri, I think his name was. But, yeah, they finally collared his ass, you know? How many people during 9/11 were handing you their journalist business cards, hoping that you'd have some story to tell them and call them up? There I was. The moon was full, you know.
Yeah, right.
The moon was sinking behind.
Yeah, that was horrible. Couldn't believe it.
So
all the people just walking around dazed. I just remember these people just with the blank stare on their face. You know, have you shown me pictures? Like, have you seen this person? Like, wow.
Well,
that was pretty horrible, right?
I worked at the family center. People, that's a whole other thing. But
the grieving center, they called it, right?
Yeah.
Family center.
Yeah.
That's where I took missing persons reports. I collected DNA. But listen, let's get on. So now we're noticing that some states are starting to open up. The guy Newsom, whether it's the pressure of
The recall.
yeah, because they want to put him in, they want to get him out.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they got enough signatures yet, but I'm pretty sure they probably do. But
even our Cuomo is now talking about it.
Opening up. A lot of states are talking about opening up right now, and we're like, I don't know, about a weekend right now to a new.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did they find the cure or?
Well, it's not even that they found a cure. Remember that this new report that they came out with, the testing was just so hypersensitive that there was so many false positives but they wanted to declare this massive infection rate.
Cat in the Hat, thank you so much for that $9.99 super chat. We'll round it off to 10, but thank you so much. Mark and I now can he can pour himself another drink.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cat in the Hat.
That's great. That's great.
So what were we saying?
Yeah, well, now the rate of that testing, the WHO just came out with it, ironically, a week later after the election, that the protocol for the testing was too sensitive. Is picking up particles of virus in people that were not infected, and it was too small to be infected or considered infected. And I can't help but to think that that was done purposely to inflate the numbers of infection. And it was also the CDC put out a report about comorbidities, and I broke it down. It had a whole breakdown of all these other comorbidities, and there were the average 2.9 other, and comorbidity means cause of death. There were at least 2.9 other causes of death to people that they considered COVID deaths. And I went through the list. I posted on Facebook before I delete all my stuff, but I went through the list. You would be shocked to see gunshot wound, poisoning, electrocution, falls from ladders, vehicles striking pedestrians. These are COVID deaths that are being considered COVID deaths. It's just shocking to me that, and how misleading it is to the public to think that it's so deadly and dangerous. These people are not dying from COVID. COVID is real and people are dying, but not at the rate that they're, putting out.
But Joe, it also seems right now, even though that the rollout of the vaccine seems to be some ineptitude to it,
Yeah. Everything, when it revolves around bureaucracy, like I think right now, if you want to get the vaccine, you got to go to Cuomo's house upstate.
Well, he was on.
You got to go to CNN and ask them if you can. You're one of their reporters. I'm sure they get it.
He comes out, he shoots you, and then get out. Come back.
That moron was doing a book tour during this COVID epidemic. Can you imagine that?
He's a moron.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Sometimes I'll watch his press conferences on Facebook just to get annoyed for a few minutes. And when you read the live chat, these people from other states love this guy. I just
can't get over it.
I always write, take him with you. Please take him the hell out of New York.
There's a lot of people, like even Bill Maher threw him down.
I saw that.
He said that, he gave a backhanded compliment to the guy in Florida. He said even that idiot got it right,
Right.
Let's Sheila Shuley. They've known about the testing for almost a year, but of course, magically, after the election, they changed the sensitivity, which will reduce the cases.
Yep.
That's what we're just talking about.
They want to show that miraculous recovery.
It's interesting, yeah.
Hey, Ryan Investigation Group just threw us $5. Thank you, Bill Ryan, for that super chat.
Bill Ryan, he's a loyal.
He's loyal,
watcher.
man. Street
I always
crime.
see him on
Hoorah, street crime.
Yeah,
It's like being a Marine.
Yeah, Yeah, it's just sad with all this stuff happening. And did you see I think it was Instagram was forcing people to sign up or connect with the White House account because nobody was signing up.
Are you kidding me?
Trump had 88 million followers on Twitter, and I think Biden, the more popular president, got more votes, only has 1 million, I think, on Instagram. So Instagram was artificially putting people on the account.
But Joe, I think that's because his Wi-Fi doesn't work in the basement.
It's just incredible.
There was a lot of missteps along the way, and I used to watch The Apprentice periodically, and he probably would have fired himself. One of the missteps, I mean, it's like everything goes back to Google. So for example, if you're not on that platform and you can't see how to find somebody, you're lost. And Facebook, if you're not part of that, Instagram. So what they have to do is just create a duplicate of that. Whatever that is, if it's Facebook, make it our book. Just give a duplicate. You don't have to do anything crazy. And just create your own network. And then we'll be even more divided, but at least people will get to listen to what they want to listen to. The truth is, you're never going to be able to silence anybody. You watch the movie Quills. Do you ever see Quills?
No.
It's a great movie. It's about the Marquis de Sade and how he wrote something. And he used to write porn back in the day in France, but he wrote something about Napoleon. So they put him in the psych ward, and he was still getting his material out. I'm trying to think of the actor that played him. Anyway.
I think Trump, with 75 million votes, Trump media, like he could do his own platform.
I have a feeling they are.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a legal question.
Sure.
With Google and Facebook and Instagram, all these places censoring, say, conservatives, aren't they required to follow the law based on the Federal Communications Commission, because that's who licensed them? In essence, they're a broadcast facility because they're allowing people to give their opinions. So if they are licensed by the FCC, aren't they required to follow the Constitution of the United States of America, which states that people have freedom of speech?
They're still private entities. It's not the government. Google's not the government. Although there are antitrust issues because of the monopolies they have, they're not required, held to the same standard as a government. Like a government platform, there was a couple of cases that came out. You can't take people off. You can't delete comments on a government platform. That's a public.
Yeah, but the fact that these platforms are licensed by a government entity, by the FCC, if they weren't licensed, they couldn't operate. So aren't they required to go by the laws of this country if they're licensed by the federal
but that licensing is not it's not closely tied to the government. There's other government licensing. I mean, we as police officers are licensed to carry firearms, but civilians are not held to the same standard, but they're licensed by the NYPD when you go. So there is some differences. When you're a private entity, you're really not bound by the Constitution.
So a lot of this can be
challenged. The 14th
challenged.
Amendment is the one that ties it in, like you can't discriminate, with your practices racially.
Yeah, well, how about during all of this stuff when people got thrown out of restaurants because they were Trump supporters? How was that allowed to happen?
That's a political question, really. I mean, if you're going to throw people out of your restaurant, the peril is that people are not going to come. If that's your reputation, that's the remedy. It's not so much the government.
Well, the one who was Trump's mouthpiece for a while, she's running for the governor of Arkansas.
Huckabee, Sarah.
Huckabee, she was thrown out of a restaurant with her family.
Yeah.
And they said to her, "No, we don't want you here. You're not welcome."
They're doing it to police officers. You hear this?
Well, Starbucks Anyone that watches this show, do not go to Starbucks. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's my little.
Terrible.
That's my little op-ed.
Terrible. We won't serve you if you have
And
a
I can't stand.
firearm.
And Ben and Jerry's. You eat Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Don't even talk to me. Right?
Yeah.
You know what's funny that they do because a certain memes get or when you post something it gets a flag. This is disputable or this is
I couldn't stand that. Honestly, that's why I left those platforms.
One that Biden said that those are his own words, and it says something like, we presided over the most corrupt election ever, and like he made he misspoke.
A gaffe, yeah.
Instead of saying corruption free, he said corrupt, and they're posting that, and
did they flag him?
Yeah, it messes up. Like they don't know what to do. Like he said it, but it's the wrong thing. You can't post that. It screws everything up.
Yeah. That's
and
funny.
then the parlor, they just basically wiped them off the face of the airwaves.
Yeah. Amazon just kicked them off their service. That's private companies can do that. That's their prerogative.
How about those? They were working on the pipeline that.
Oh, I know. Jesus.
11,000 workers, and then
the
plus
Keystone Pipeline done.
I was reading about it, and it's something that came up during. So they had a job for 4 years. Those people basically. Because it was up and resurrected, and they jumped on it. They got some work.
Yeah,
now they're out of work again. But it's ironic that unions tend to vote Democrat because Democrats.
Yeah. Oh, that's changed.
Democrat, usually looks out for the unions, where the Republicans are, they're for free to work, some nonsense like that.
Right to work, yeah.
Oh, the right to work states, right?
Yeah. So. No party's perfect, but it kind of blew up in their face because I don't know how many of those people who they voted for, but you should have seen the writing on the wall.
But Mark, how about them not letting that? Well, I forget which company it was in Queens. It was going to add like thousands and thousands of jobs, and
Amazon.
AOC and a bunch of other Queens communists turned it down or got the people to vote it down.
Yeah, but really, like, how bad do they really want to come here? You think
enough that they were ready. They were ready to do it.
Yeah,
they were ready.
They were all in. They had their deal, and it was
these were $150,000, $200,000 a year jobs. These weren't like hot dog vendor jobs. These were in tech.
In hindsight, I'm sure they're happy they never signed that deal because why would you want to be here now?
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't take AOC.
Politicians don't always speak for the people. Shut. They speak for themselves,
Blasio would have messed it up.
Hey, have you named a bridge the DeMayo Bridge? The Mario M. DeMayo Bridge? I haven't named any bridge the William J. Cannon Bridge either. But Cuomo feels he can just slap Mario M. Cuomo Bridge on the Tappan Zee. I'm still pissed off at that.
It really drives me nuts. And there used to be a guy, a Queens state senator, forget his first name, Padovan was his name. He was in office like 30 something years, and everywhere around here in Queens there's the Padovan Park and the Padovan this and did he donate that money himself? Did he do that? I mean, how many soldiers have died heroically in the line of duty and at war? Why can't we name it? And they're from the neighborhood, even 9/11, how many people died rushing into those buildings? Why don't we name it after them?
Right.
It's just so arrogant. I can't stand it.
Well, they love to name bridges after dead Democrats.
Democrats, yeah.
The Edward I. Koch Bridge, the
Koch
59th
Bridge.
Street, Robert F. Kennedy, the Triborough, right? Mario M. Cuomo, Tappan Zee. Give me a bridge. Why don't they name one after Ted?
Yeah.
You should name that one in Martha's Vineyard after him.
Yeah. What would we do for a Koch right now, though? I would take Koch any day right now.
Koch loved the cops, man. Koch was great.
How am I doing? How am I doing?
Yeah.
He was. He was.
Imagine if de Blasio hung out in front of a subway when people were coming out and go, hey, how am I doing?
Oh my God, people would throw eggs at that guy.
Like
You
I
know?
walked through an area by Brooklyn Park over there, and some guy goes, "Hey, you're an asshole, you."
I saw that was great. Could you imagine being in De Blasio's security detail? You must have
Yeah.
sold your soul to do that,
Oh
right?
my God.
Anyone
That's
who's in
brutal.
his detail, take it from police off the cuff. You're an asshole because you should.
Yeah.
How could you defend that guy? You're going to jump in front of a bullet for that guy? Please.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you get first grade out of it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They sold their soul.
That's why they're there.
That's
They're-
exactly why they're there.
You
I used
know?
to always see these little Maytaggers go into the security deal. I pulled that one out of the archives, Maytagger. I used to call everyone that years ago. I used to say, you if you called the perp that, he'd want to throw down with you. Remember that? Hey, you do any Maytagging lately? What?
So let's before we let's
Oh,
give
God.
another shout out to whoever's on. Lorena, QR, hello from Colorado. I don't like Starbucks
Colorado.
anyway. I only like to drink coffee at home. Have a blessed night, everybody. Yeah, I refrain from Starbucks whenever possible.
Yeah.
If I'm
What do you mean
stopping-
refrain? Don't go in there at all. Period.
If I'm
Period.
stopping on a drive from, for a gig, and the only thing in that freaking thing is Starbucks, and I need a cup of coffee, I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm saying?
I won't even do that.
Those, especially now, those times are far and few between.
And I used to call my kids when they were younger into roll call. I had them stand in roll call, and I would tell them what we're boycotting. I go, don't ever bring Ben and Jerry's into this house, ever, ever, ever,
That's great.
because they backed the guy who killed Officer
Yeah.
Faulkner from Philadelphia. Remember they contributed to Abu Jamal,
Yeah. Yeah.
the guy who killed him, and they were like donating to. They're two real dirtbags.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
always
making-
on the wrong side of this.
Yeah, they're making
Yeah.
millions. They're making millions, but yet they're like, "Oh, we take care of her." You don't take care of anybody, you two
Yeah.
phonies. You know.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You got your hand on the pulse here. I trust your opinion.
All right.
When do you think it's going to open up in New York again?
I think it's going to be quick. There's no more reason to, that they got what they wanted. I think Cuomo, I was praying that if Biden, won, that it was rumored Cuomo was going to be part of the administration. Bye, get out of here. I mean,
When is Cuomo up for re-election again?
he is 2022. Him
But
and
you
the
know
Attorney
what's
General.
scary though, with the electorate as it is in New York, they might re-elect that dirtbag
No,
again.
that's impossible. Please, then I leave. I'm done. That's the last.
Let me tell
straw.
you something. You see the clowns that are
He's
running
a
for
moron.
Joe. You see the clowns that are running for mayor. One of them
Oh, I
again. There's
know.
another De Blasio clone going to get elected for mayor.
That's sad. This mayoral race. I don't know where that's going to go. I mean, do we have any hope there? I mean, there's a couple.
No.
Everybody
think
has
so.
to add to their little promo or their whatever whatever they're running on, police reform and something else that goes with it. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, why do you have to mention
Police reform, police accountability.
I would
fund
mention
the police.
more
It's
police.
it's incredible.
Like, I'm running right now because I noticed some people that I know that are running. It feels like it has to be part of the bill that you mentioned police reform. I don't even know what that means though. Is that good or bad? Are you going to get by police reform? You're going to hire more? You're going to put
No, we're going to do away with anti-crime because they're a little too aggressive, and we like to have our shootings up. They suppressed our shootings too much. There's things like that. So
yeah, but
And everything comes full circle, and they'll blame the police for the rise in shootings.
yeah, but my point is this: is like you're looking at somebody's platform, what they're running on, and they're posting all stuff that sounds like you. And then all of a sudden they got to add a police reform in there. And you're like, wait a minute, you had me at the first 5. What does that mean, police reform? You know what I'm saying? Like if everybody has to mention that in their thing, like that's part of it.
Well, that's the new catchphrase now. We're going to reimagine policing and how we address our community. We're going to have social workers responding to jobs instead of police officers because we incite the people. And,
No, Joe, they're called violence interrupters.
Violence.
They interrupt
Yes.
violence. That's what they do, just by the soft tone of their voice.
That's true.
Sir, would you please put down that knife?
What they call that in the academy? The transactional analysis.
Yes, TA, transactional analysis, right? Don't let them hook your child. They always hooked my child, right?
Yes.
Don't let them hook your child. I'd be like, rah! My child was hooked. Hello, Peter Pranzo. Peter Pranzo's in the house. Harlem Raiders.
Says, love these
the regular all the time.
Peter Pranzo's the best, man. Harlem Raiders forever. We got to have Pete on again. You know, it's been a long time.
And a shout out to Heidi Lay. She says, love these guys. Hit that like.
That's right. Hit that like button. Go into your safe. Take out $50. Who said that? Remember that guy, Soupy Sales? Soupy Sales said that you kids watching the show, go into the room, take $50 out of your father's wallet.
$1. It was $1.
$1.
It was $1. He said, take $1 out of your dad's wallet and send it to me.
And then he got fired for that.
Yeah.
Well, we can't fire it because we're our own bosses here.
After that, that was one of the best skits that's ever been on TV.
Soupy Sales.
Yeah, how great is that? Go into your father's wallet, take $1 out, and then send it to. He was showing the kids how to mail a letter.
That's great.
Oh, I wish.
So, Joe, any big paydays recently?
Nah, it's a lot of slow down in the courts because of all this stuff.
For our fans, this is retired police officer Joe Murray, who his story of how he left the police department and became an attorney is a story on another episode, which was fascinating.
Yeah.
But Joe's an attorney right now. He's making big coin. He has to have a Brinks truck to take it to the bank once a month. With armed guards, he's making that much money. See how he's smiling?
I got to tell you, though, I love, when you love what you do, from going from the police department to now doing this, it's such a great, empowering experience. Like, you get to fight back. I mean, I'm representing a sergeant in the trial room. I am going to war with this trial commissioner. He just wants it his way. And I'm like, no, it's not going to be your way. And, who do you think you are,
Did you show many video of your former fights?
he would be wise to look at those videos.
You know what? I can see the conversation already. I can see him saying, "Hey, listen, I know who you are, okay? But I'm no band leader.
I'm no band leader.
That's right.
And
Johnny Fontaine does not get that part." He was the best piece of ass I ever had, and I've had him all over the world.
This guy went out of his way to make me look ridiculous.
And I can't afford to be made to look ridiculous.
I can't afford to be made to look ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you go back and you tell him, I'm no band leader.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of what we do. I mean, I get to go to war with these people and fight them, and I really do think it's an incredible something that I was owed because of all the grief I had to suffer, that now I get to fight back.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good. You're challenging yourself. Whichever way you can do it. Whatever it is that you do to make the next day exciting.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to get caught up in too much of what else is going on. You have something that you're focused on. The problem,
but it is so sad, just like Donald Trump, that guy didn't need to run for president. He's a billionaire. He had such a great business. I'm sure he loved his job, doing The Apprentice, doing all this construction, all the stuff that he has. I'm sure he loved it, but he just saw the madness that's going on. And he brought in this wonderful America first, us first. This is our government, our country. You know, you feel more ownership of the country, you know, with a leader like that. I thought it was wonderful. But similarly, on a much smaller scale, I love what I do, but seeing how they were dumping buckets of water on cops, the way they're treating them, this diaphragm law, you know, it's outrageous.
Joe,
And
did
it
you
makes
see
me
that
wanna
video?
fight.
Did you see that video recently? And it was a cop from the 2-5 with his female partner. And they had a guy on the ground. And the male cop was like walking around him, afraid to put his knee on his back. And the female cop came over. Both of them were standing on either side of the guy. The guy figures out, why am I laying here? He gets up and starts to run.
Yeah.
They call for backup. When they got him on the ground, he had a gun on him. And they could have been killed. That could have went real bad because they were afraid to put their knee in his back and get his ass cuffed. You know,
I have a case right now in the 7-7. I got called through the client, went right to the precinct, spoke to the cops there. It was a gun case. And just on the side, talking to the officer, I was like, you know, the guy completely was passive, surrendered, told him where the gun was. So, but talking to the officer, I was like, hey, are you running into this with perps that flee and stuff? He goes, if he ran, I wasn't going to touch him. You know, they're so afraid to
put
really
hands
put
on
hands on
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And if you remember last year during my campaign, there was a big article in the Post, a guy that was arrested in transit, and they're walking him into the precinct. He's rear cuffed, and he's got a 45 in his waistband, sticking out in his waistband.
Wow.
That can only happen because cops are so afraid to touch people now.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, you made the arrest for whatever it was, fair beating, but you made the arrest. Search him.
Hey, let me
Right.
ask you 2 questions because we're over now right now. First of all, what do you think is going to go on with the impeachment? Don't answer that yet. And the second one is Tacoma, Washington. Cops run over the people that surrounded their car and beating on their car. So those are 2 questions for you.
All right, impeachment. Impeachment is what made me switch. I mean, I was so disgusted with what was happening in the Democratic Party anyway, but I was a Democrat. I switched over because it was so unconstitutional the first time they impeached him. This time, I don't see any path to a constitutional impeachment of him. Even when you look at the facts, they're saying he incited this. But if you do the math and you look at the time, by the time he was done speaking, they were already breaching the door. So how could he have incited them? He wasn't even, you know, the timing didn't work. I mean, I was there. We walked down to the Capitol, but by the time we got there, all that stuff had already taken place. But I stayed there listening to his speech before we walked to the Capitol. So I think once they actually play this out, he didn't incite this riot.
All right. And the second question was, have you ever seen anything more enjoyable than the Tacoma, Washington cops running over the... I mean, did that tickle your heart or what?
You know, it's sad.
Oh, I watched it 100 times. And I still wasn't done. I hate to say it, but I could jerk off to that video. Seriously, isn't that the greatest thing you ever see? You see when the car goes boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You don't
bad.
have to co-sign
Look what they're
it.
doing to these cops, though. It's just horrible, you know? And on top of the restraining them and allowing these rioters to do what they want, you know, it's just...
Well, you know, Joe, it's funny. I was in the gym locker room the other day, and I had my Manhattan North Homicide shirt on. And this kid comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, you were on the job?" I go, "Yeah, I did 27 years." He goes, "Oh, I'm in the academy." And rather than being like, you know, "Hey, that's great," I was like, yeah, I didn't know what to say, you know. I said, "I feel sorry for you almost," you know, like.
You know, my daughter, I would have been so proud. She took all 3 tests. She took the city, Nassau, Suffolk. She got 95 in Suffolk. I was like, great. You know, go there. But she got called by the NYPD in her last semester of college. So she deferred to finish her degree. She's like her mother. She's now finished her nursing degree. And I would be so proud, no matter what she does, but to be a police officer. But I am scared to death if she was to take the job, because
Yeah, my son is in NYU.
it's not there. And even the quality of the officers that are coming on now, I don't know if it's just because of when we worked with the people we work with. I don't think the quality is there.
Listen, it doesn't matter whether it's there. After you're there for the 5th day of people hitting your head with the bricks, because they all come on and they all want to make a difference. I'm not going to be like these cops that were here before. You know what I'm saying? And then they get there and they start getting hit in the head with bricks. They got calling names, wishing your family dead.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Like somebody who looks possessed. And after a little while, maybe the 3rd day, the 5th day, even if it takes you 2 weeks, because this thing went on for over a summer and more.
Yeah.
You look around to your right and your left, and you realize one thing: the only people that I have that have my back are my brothers and sisters in blue. So as much as it's change that you wanted to make, you realize this is me. I'm on this side now.
This is it.
And they created it.
Well, it even seems that the unions have gotten weaker. Like, you don't see Pat Lynch. He's still fighting for his guys, but the tone's changed a little bit somewhat. Same thing with Eddie Mullins. It seems like they're exasperated at what's happened, and it's like maybe, I don't say they're tired of fighting, but they don't have the same vigor.
Well,
I got to talk to him, because I had always believed, especially after what I went through and the people who were like gunning for me, why don't we as a union, there is so much corruption out there, the mayor's office, him and his wife doing what they're doing. We have the greatest investigators in the world,
right? Yeah,
at our fingertips. Why don't we have a black ops, investigative union by the unit in the union?
Because Joe, investigation is political. Look at that DOI report, the other hit job on the NYPD. Letitia James, State Attorney General, hit job, and it's all political. You think they're going to allow
it? I really wanted to run for Queens DA, and I still may again. I'm thinking of challenging her. She is horrible.
Yeah.
She goes after the ICE officers. They're law enforcement trying to do their job.
Who knows how long there's even going to be an ICE right now. Though.
Yeah, right. Is there even going to be an ICE? Because it's going to give them all citizens.
Open up the borders. Let the 70% of the.
What do you need ICE for anyway? What do you really need them for?
Yeah.
You're going to let everybody in. And the irony is that there was 1,000 migrants meeting up with another 4,000, 5,000 migrants heading to here, and then all of a sudden, because they heard under the new administration there was going to be free entry, and they're like, no, wait, we gotta sort this COVID thing out, and we're not ready for you yet.
Yeah.
I believe in the amnesty for the people that are here in the country already. The whole thing is ridiculous. If you made it here, God bless you. You should be able to get it. Here's your Social Security card. From now on, you pay taxes. Welcome to America. That's what I would do. I totally agree with the amnesty. I think that was a downfall. We should have addressed that right away. And this way we could have curtailed, all this stuff that was, whatever.
But does that include all these felons that are now,
No. You got to come and you're going to get vetted. And, if you're in prison, obviously you're going to go back to where, your mother had you, and then we're going to be done with you. But for everybody here who's working hard and who's doing the right thing and just doesn't happen to have the papers, what are you going to do? Why make him? Why? Just give him a Social Security number, man. Let him get in the mix. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, to pull them out of the darkness, yes, but not when you have this porous border and a leadership that has no interest in policing the border. Where does it end? It's just an open border.
Well,
everyone come.
You could have held the border with that if you would have had an amnesty.
Wait, you're saying by offering amnesty, you're going to hold
people that are here already.
Okay, but you're saying.
So you're talking about the Dreamers?
No, I'm talking about a lot of people that are here already and are saying, no, we don't want you to come. There's a lot of those people. I did the right thing. I came to this country, whatever. I got my papers. There's a lot of those people.
But as soon as you grant amnesty, what message does that send to the people who are thinking of coming now?
Well,
wow, all I got to do is get in there. Eventually there'll be another amnesty.
Oh yeah, well, you're right. And you could, what you could do is it's a 10-year thing. Sign up for it now, and then once we get all these people in, we're looking at a 10-year, 15-year thing before we finish with the people that are going to be American citizens now, that are already in this country, that aren't paying into Social Security, that still reap the benefits. Give them a Social Security number. Let them pay taxes.
No, but but a lot of these people out of their mind. They want them to come here and they want to give them benefits immediately.
But they're already getting that. Let them pay taxes. Everybody should have to pay taxes.
I don't know. These people.
I'm not there, Mark. I'm not
there either.
No, it's good. No, but it's good though. You could explain it to me. What do I know?
No, I mean, you just let people in, and then day one they're getting SSI, they're getting full health insurance. What are you kidding me?
People who are here already. It's so funny when you watch like New York. Like you could have went in like the 80s and go in the back of a diner and go, la migra, and they would all run out.
Yeah.
And then there was a time where they weren't scared at all. So why do we have to keep going back through this thing? You made it here. God bless you. We're closing off the borders. We're going to make sure all the people that are here already are taken care of. And then we're going to open the borders up again. And we'll do it again in 10 years.
It sounds wonderful, but it's been done. They've granted amnesty in the past, and now it's even worse.
It's almost like, remember under Jimmy Carter, they had those Marielitos boat people? Nah. Cuba emptied their prisons and sent them to Miami.
Yeah, but you would have never had Scarface if that didn't.
Yeah, right. We got a good movie out of it.
Yeah, so that equals everything out. And what's funny is the guy.
Look out the bad guy.
One of the guys in that movie, Operation Odessa, he actually, the main guy, one of the main guys, he actually came here on that thing. He's like the real Scarface, that guy. Did you see it? Did you see it?
No.
You got to watch it tonight. Promise me, Operation Odessa. I'm going to watch it again.
Okay, yeah.
Freaking great.
Wow.
These guys. Miami is the place, like they say, if you ever watch the documentary Screwball, he says it's the place where if you get in trouble, you're a criminal wherever you are, and you get in trouble, and you can't stay where you are anymore. You always wind up in Miami. So it's all criminals there from all over the country. They don't make anything. They don't produce everything, but everybody's got a scam.
Yeah.
That's right. The favorite line from Scarface was "Say hello to my little friend." I love that one. Thank you, MC Audio, for giving me that reminder there, yo. How about when he said to his wife, "Your womb is polluted."
We can't even have a kid.
That's right. Your womb is polluted.
Anyway, we're at 8:17. What are we doing? You got anything to promote?
We got to. Let him promote his law practice.
Tell us about
Listen, not even my law practice. Like we really have to dig in here. The greatest thing about this Trump campaign was I've never seen more people getting involved in politics. Look at the voter apathy that we've had in New York. De Blasio, I think he got 11% of the voting eligible voters who voted for him. I mean, so much voter apathy. I think people have woken up and they're more involved, and they
Joe, they got woke.
They're woke.
They're woke. That's about how woke up they got.
It's really, I mean, even me, I wasn't, that very much political. I voted, but I wasn't really much involved. Now I get involved in campaigns. Ever since my campaign, I'm supporting more candidates, running and helping them along. So that's
what happened to the guy that we had on our show that ran for Queens?
He won. He won on election night.
I know.
Swazi.
That was another one of those mail-in things.
Santos. And then I was on his team doing the absentee, the mail-in ballots. Angela and I worked on his team doing the mail-in ballots. You wouldn't believe this. I was going crazy. They never let us look at the ballot. We sat at the table. They took a razor and sliced open the envelope, took the ballot out, unfolded it upside down, and flattened it out. That was it. That was why we were there. It's outrageous.
And Swazi is a longtime Democrat from Glen Cove, Long Island. I guess he moved into Queens, but his family was big in politics, and they were from Glen Cove.
I just could not believe it. You know what was
I
happening.
thought just the on the strength of George Santos being on Police Off the Cuff, he was going to win in a landslide.
That's what really propelled him. I'm telling you, I believe in that.
Joe,
And I saw him at all the rallies. We had a lot of, rallies on Long Island, pro law enforcement. He was speaking at every one of them. You guys gave him that.
All right, listen, we got to probably fold up the tent soon, but we want to do some shouting out to our great, great fans. Of course, Peter Pranzo, Bill Ryan, Cat in the Hat. I love that name. I love that Cat in the Hat name. We got some really good shows coming up. Mark and I have been, Mark just was on MC Audio. That kid's going to be a great broadcaster.
Yeah, check him out.
Check him out. He is really going to be a talented broadcaster.
He tunes in tonight.
He's listened to every single one of our podcasts. He's stealing our shit, but he's talented, though.
No, I'm trying to think of what the name of his show is right now. Go ahead, keep talking, and I'll give it to you.
All right, anyway, Ryan Investigation, Peter Pranzo, Janine Lewis, Paula Fernandez, I love that name. Cat in the Hat, we mentioned you before. Lisa Marie. I'm trying to go through everyone that I can give a shout out to. Linda Barrett. Heidi Lee. You love us. We love you too, Heidi. Lorena. Some people from California watching us. It's unbelievable. Linda Barrett, Green Eggs and Ham. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Anyway, Mark, go ahead. I was going to say Mark is doing a show called One-on-One with Mark DeMeo. I think he's still calling it that. He was thinking of changing it to Ask a Cop. I'm doing some other episodes of Real Crime Stories. This Wednesday night, I'm on with Irma Rivera, the retired Manhattan South homicide cop, and Michael O'Keefe, and we're going to go over the Night Stalker case that was seen on Netflix. But we got some really exciting stuff, and Mark's getting back into comedy again, so maybe you get to see him in a club soon.
Great. I wanted to just clarify something. Mike in New Haven, MIC apostrophe D.
Mike did right.
Mikey Cologne, Mike in New Haven. I did his podcast today. He's very talented, good kid. He follows us under MC Audio. I see a bright future for him, and I see. Hey,
Duty Ron just threw us a sawbuck. Thanks, Duty Ron.
Thank you, Duty Ron. Joe Murray, thank you for being handsome as ever. You come on the show, you light up the screen. It doesn't even matter. We can mute you, and chicks would still watch.
There's Joe when he was a real handsome boxer. Look at that.
Oh, hey,
man, he was a good-looking fella there, huh?
You know what? He looks in that picture. He looks like he got hit with so many lefts. He was begging for a right.
No, Joe. You know something? I mean, Mark. It looks like his off-duty job was a porn star with that mustache, right?
Right? That mustache. And he's got it back.
Look at that now. Now he's more serious.
Yeah, listen.
Look at that. That's his attorney face.
Yeah, yes. I got you.
There he is.
You know what that face is? Yeah. The face is, I got you. That should be the name of your company. I got you.
There he is.
How great would that be? I got
could
you.
Could be like selling Earl Schreib paint jobs.
I got you. Hey, listen, let me tell you something, man. That's a good name. I got you.
Hey, let me tell you about Mike O'Keefe. He was the first guy I went to. I said, Mike, if I get in, you got to get on my DA squad. I was forming something called the Untouchable Squad. Real hard-hitting guys like Mike O'Keefe. We don't care, Democrat, Republican. We're going after corruption.
There he is. Would you buy a used car from this man?
Listen, if all those guys bail out on you and you're down on your luck, call me. I'll do it.
Listen, come on, man.
There he is, Joe Murray for District Attorney.
Fish in a barrel.
2024. When's the next race, Joe?
For crying out loud.
Listen, if I run against our Attorney General, That's 2022. I'd love to run against Cuomo. I better see somebody of character and quality challenging him because he's just a moron.
Joe, look at this. What do you want from me?
Oh, listen.
Oh, hey, what do you want from me?
Well,
And that I never forgot that Cuomo sued me when I was a cop, and he went
Did he
after
really?
me. So I'm going after him.
Joe, who's the woman next to you there?
Oh, that's Liz Crowley.
You
That's
ran
one of the
against.
Crowley sisters. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
from the Ozzy song?
We were speaking at
Crowley, doom, doom, doom.
at Bayside. Yeah, the Bayside Civic.
This is great. Joe, thank you for what happened?
I went back to the regular screen. You want me to go back to his face again?
No. I lost you over here.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Am I back?
No. Can't. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I
don't
see
know,
myself on the
something
screen.
popped across my screen. It was scary.
All right.
But anyway, I was as scared as anybody would be that lost Joe Murray's face for a second.
listen.
Let's
Oh, we
hope
didn't
police
get to
off the
talk
cuff
about
never
my,
needs an attorney. Joe, let's hope police off the cuff never needs an attorney. But if we
Yeah,
do,
right.
we're going to be calling you on the phone. Hey,
That's
Joe,
right.
Joe.
You got me.
All right. Thanks for coming in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Duty Ron, for helping us out with the show here. We can't even express. I mean, Bill.
His fans, Duty Run, your fans are coming to see us from California, from
Yeah,
Florida, from all over the country. Thank you so much, man. We
They
appreciate it.
legitimized us.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody who tuned in tonight. We'll be back Thursday night. Who do we
With
got Thursday?
Chief Mike Blake.
Okay.
Great guy. He was a sergeant with me in a 2-4. Excellent dude, man.
All right.
So we'll be talking to Mike Blake on Thursday. Thanks, everyone. We ready to? Anyone have any last words?
Love it, man. Love the show.
All right, brother.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for coming again, Joe.
Yeah,
My
Really
pleasure.
appreciate it. Anytime. You're always welcome.
that's right. All right. Good night, everyone.
Later.